Good morning, everybody, daughter, friends, family, and happy Sabbath to everybody. Today, I would like to discuss the concept of Christmas. It's currently the 23rd of December of 2023, and we're right on the precipice of Christmas. And that's a wonderful time for families to get together. And I know it's a hard time for certain people. I'm going to actually bring this closer. Certain people that actually feel alone, and we pray for those people, don't we? Daughter, friends, family. But my question is there a better term than Christmas? I think the word Advent would be a much, much better term regarding the holiday of Christmas. But let's focus on Christmas for a second together, shall we? All right, so the concept is I grew up with Christmas and a Christmas tree, and I was always perplexed. Amazed by the fact that the lights had such beauty, but they were so quiet. I would play with little army soldiers in the early 60s, and at the base of the tree where my mother would put cotton for snow, and I would put my army men in the tree limbs, and it was a wonderful moment. I got my first mini bike. It was an amazing. I got my first Schwinn back in like 63. And I do miss those moments, but let's get back to the conversation. Now, in regards to Christmas, I always wondered, why do they put Xmas? And I watch the movie channel, movies from the mid 40s and 50s, and they do that there, Xmas. Now, why would that be necessary? What? It's too laborious to create the whole putting Christ and then Mass, Christ Mass. That was too laborious? No. Even back then, they were our enemies. Enemies. Hollywood is not a friend to us, not in any way, shape, or form. And many people put Xmas. And you have to ask, they're just killing off Christ in their hearts? I would think so. But anyway, getting back. Now, the concept of Christ being born in the dead of winter is absolutely not at all realistic, even if by today's standards. No shepherds were in the field during the coldest time of year. In the northern hemisphere, it's much like here. Very, very cold. There's very little grass. They herded their sheep together and kept them enclosed and fed them from grain. That never happened. Now the pagans did that, but but if we really want to know when Christ was born, we might consider the Passover. 33 and a half years he served, a half a year. He was killed during the Passover, which occurs in the spring. Now, if we go back one half year, it's not 3 months. That drops you in the middle of December. It's fall. So Passover is in the spring. 6 months earlier, it's fall. He was born in the fall, maybe around October, my birth month. No, I'm joking. But anyway, so Passover is in the spring. He died in the fall, or was born in the fall, died in spring. So that's one thing that we might want to consider. But why do people celebrate December 25th? Well, if we want to think about it in regards to pagan consideration, they noted the pagans and all the different kinds of people, from the Native Americans to the Asians. They noted that the 21st was absolutely the shortest day of the year, without a doubt. And from the 21st to the 25th, it was kind of level. It stayed that way for 4 days. And they all markedly noticed that on the 25th, the days began to get longer. So that's why all the celebrations, I'm so sorry. That's why the celebrations, Christmas and such, and so I think I can understand that. I can appreciate that. Now, is it do you think it's terribly sinful that we would celebrate Christmas? Well, not necessarily. If you're dealing with a culture that gets together on that day and you want to evangelize to them, like for example, if you're going to go to China, you might investigate their yearly calendar and find out when their festivals are or when their important dates are and go there and be part of that, not being a part of it, but being there, that you might speak to as many people as possible And in First Corinthians, Paul discusses that in detail. But I'll get to that very shortly. I hope to make this a short video. And daughter, I hope you're doing wonderfully. And everybody, I've got a whole new set of shirts that are coming out, and it's a lot of fun. But getting back, so my notes are very simple. So in regards to, like, for example, a Christmas tree, a lot of people use Jeremiah 10:3 to justify a Christmas tree. And Jeremiah 10:3 says this: "For the customs of the people are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They decorate it with gold and silver. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree, like a tree, and they cannot speak. They must be carried because they cannot go by themselves. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, nor can they do good." Well, would we ever consider a Christmas tree need to, how do we look at a Christmas tree and say, it doesn't speak? Yeah, obviously. How do we say it cannot carry itself and must be carried? You could say, yeah, people carry Christmas trees, but why would we give any consideration to the concept that it can't speak unless it has a mouth, or cannot walk unless it has legs? Don't be afraid of them. Should we be afraid of a Christmas tree? No, that verse is used to justify or rationalize a Christmas tree. No, it's not talking about a Christmas tree. We're talking about idolaters, pagans, who would go into the forest, cut a tree down, get a large piece of stump from the tree. The wood carver would come and carve it into a god with a face, arms, legs. It would be unstable, so they'd have to make it so that it was secure. It has legs that cannot be used, cannot walk. It has a face that cannot speak or see, and it can't do evil or good. It's just a piece of wood, but they prayed to it. It's as if you had a dozen roses in your home, and you love the fragrance and you love the visual. But what would happen if you prayed to those roses, or gave sacrament to those roses? That would be a serious consideration, a serious issue. So the Christmas tree, no, that was not in regards to a Christmas tree, because we know Christmas trees can't walk, and we know Christmas trees can't speak. We know that. No, it was in regards to, look around the world, totem poles, or any kind of a pole that gets carved into it, the likeness of a man that people pray to. And they're saying, the Lord is saying, don't do that. Don't be scared of them either. Now I have to check my awesome notes. Let's see here. I'm sorry. In the morning, I always clear my throat. Later, it gets better. I should probably make my videos in the afternoon. Anyway, so now in regards to Advent, why couldn't we use Advent in place of Christmas? Advent has a much more, it is the definition of Christmas, but Christmas focuses on the past. Jesus, being born on the 25th. That's in the past. Advent focuses on the future. Now, Advent, the word Advent, like I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. So we are looking forward to the arrival or a visit. That's another, but we're not a religion. We're a Bible-based, yes, people are going to talk about Ellen White and all that peculiarness. I don't get myself concerned. I go strictly by the Bible, which we do. So, Advent. Advent, again, is described as arrival or visit. I'm waiting for the advent of my uncle. The four themes of the term Advent are, surprise, hope, peace, joy, and love. And out of the four, we know that love covers a multitude of sin. So, my attitude is, friends, why don't we consider the concept of joyful Advent? We're joyful that he's coming back. We're joyful that we will see him again. Now, it'll be very rough before He comes back, and the Bible actually does say, "Blessed are those who pass away before the tribulation." They sleep through it. For those that go through it, it's going to be harsh. But I don't mind. I'm happy to be in any way that He'll take me. So, why not consider, I don't know, happy Advent? Let's rejoice in the blessed promised Advent that He's coming for us, the future. Advent, I think, is better than Christmas. I truly do. And I know a lot of people who really have their hearts set up for Christmas, and I get that. And I did too, and I still do somewhat. Now, the concept of Paul talking about how it's not horrible to have a Christmas tree. It's not. Just don't pray to it. Don't kneel to it. Realize that it's just a warm, bringing a little bit of nature into your home, that you might smell its pine, and you might smell it and see it and decorate it and make it a beautiful thing that you and your children and your grandchildren will really consider wonderful. But the one thing that a lot of Christians, including Paul, did was they would discuss how they would blend in with the cultures around them. Now, that doesn't mean they became the culture, but they would blend in with the culture without breaking God's precepts or laws. You don't compromise yourself to win people over. That's a huge mistake, and they'll lose respect for you. People will respect you if you hold true to your values. 1 Corinthians 9:19, Paul does what he can to reach people where they are, and without breaking the law, he tries to get them, to reach them where they are. Like when I work with addicts and alcoholics and drug addicts, I tell them, I'm no different than you. I am you. Now, so if we go to 1 Corinthians 9:19, what we read, Paul saying is, for though I am free from all men, not a servant or a slave, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win the more. He wants to win more. And you have to identify with people to win them. He says, to the Jew, I become as a Jew, that I might win Jews. To those who are under the law, as under the law. He becomes under the law, that I might win those who are under the law. Like, for example, Sadducees or that group of people. To those who are without law, as without law, not being without law toward God, but under law toward Christ. So if they don't deal with the law, he doesn't bring it up. They're babes. They're getting milk, not hard food. That I might win those who are without law, because they're not familiar with the law yet. They don't realize God's government yet. They just realize that there are things that are right and things that are wrong. To the weak, I become as weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might be by all means, that I might save some. So what Paul is saying is, he will meet you where you are, like Jesus does. And he will work hard, even if only a few come. And with my videos, I have very few viewers, very few, but it doesn't stop me. I do it for my daughter. I do it for the friends and family that might see it, that maybe one or two or three might be moved and changed, that I might be part to feed his sheep like he told us to. And I guess that's all I'm going to say. And I would like to wish everyone a beautiful Advent looking forward, and a Merry Christmas looking backward. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Of course I miss.